Alright, before I start my The Epic Tales of Captain Underpants Netflix original series review, I decide to do Captain Underpants, the first epic movie review first, for its third anniversary. Let's get started. Here's the plot. We have George and Harold, who to become the Treehouse Comics business, and they like to draw Captain Underpants comics, and then when Mr. Krupp, who wants to talk about what happens next, and then when George and Harold, who want to talk to find a way for the talent show for this Saturday, and then when George and Harold, who want to find a way to make something new, when Melvin invents the toilet thing, and they like to find a way when the toilet gets messed up. And then when Mr. Krupp, who wants to talk about our discussion, when Mr. Krupp, who wants to talk about what happens next, and then when Mr. Krupp wants to put the pen down, when the Hypno Ring, who give it to George Beard, and they liked when Mr. Krupp was hypnotized, and then they decide to turn into a chicken, and then when Mr. Krupp turned to Captain Underpants. And it says, tra la la, and which suddenly happens is when Captain Underpants, who want to learn to fly, and suddenly when scenes got pretty messed up when Captain Underpants want to find out. And gives us a demonstration when George and Harold, who fly over the water and turning back to Mr. Krupp or Captain Underpants or whatever. And then when Professor Poopy Pants, who wants to introduce. And then when Mr. Krupp tell me what happens next when George and Harold, who want to snap, and then Captain Underpants is here again. And then when Captain Underpants wants to disguise as Mr. Krupp, and then it's called Happy Krupp. When Mr. Krupp, who wants to doing the Happy Krupp, and they like to find a way when Happy Krupp and George and Harold, who want to become our things to be said. And then when Professor Poopy Pants is introduced to Mr. Krupp. And then what suddenly happens is when Professor Poopy Pants, who saw George and Harold's comic named Captain Underpants, and then Professor Poopy Pants invented Shrink Ray, and then when Professor Poopy Pants, who want to find a way to meet Melvin, and then suddenly happens is when Mr. Krupp is doing the Silly Symphony, and then when Mr. Krupp and Melvin, who want to find a way to invent the big toilet, and then when suddenly happens is when Mr. Krupp and George and Harold, who like to go to the carnival, and then when George and Harold and Happy Krupp, when suddenly happens is when it got rains, they turn back into the meanest principal in the normal life. When Mr. Krupp, who wants to do separate with George and Harold, and they like to find a way when George and Harold, when suddenly happens. When Professor Poopy Pants gives a shrink way to becoming the big toilet, and then when Melvin wants to find the refill upgrades, when Professor Poopy Pants saw the children named George and Harold, when George and Harold wanted to give a snap when Mr. Krupp is turning back into Captain Underpants. And then when suddenly happens is when George and Harold wants to find a way, and then when George and Harold wants to laugh out loud and do silly things. And then when soon as the big toilet got defeated, when Captain Underpants is learning how to fly. die. And then suddenly happens is when Professor Poopy Pants is going to defeat Captain Underpants, but it can't. Professor Poopy Pants got shrinked into a small size. And then as soon as Professor Poopy Pants got arrested or got shrinked, and then suddenly happens this, they turn back into normal lives. And when Mr. Krupp wants to date with his new girlfriend to be exact. And then when Mr. Krupp is turning back to Captain Underpants once again, and by defeating some toilet minions. And then at the post credits, when they're doing hung up the phone and gets mad and roar with a women on it, and then that's pretty much the plot. What have I heard of Captain Underpants, the first epic movie? Ah, yes, it's awesome. The first time I saw on June 3rd of 2017 in 3D. And it looks really amazing, and I bought it on Blu-ray and DVD way back when in September 2017. And then, what have I heard of it? It's an amazing, brilliant masterpiece. Definitely my third favorite animated feature of 2017. My second one goes to the Lego Batman movie, and my number one favorite animated film of 2017 has to be Coco. Ah, yes, the animation is so awesome, which is based on a book. It feels like the Peanuts movie. But overall, the animation's really amazing for the DreamWorks animated film released in 2017. The story, very great. The characters we have, George and Harold, are the main characters. He's awesome! And George and Harold are so awesome. George played Kevin Hart, which is the same person who played Snowball from the Secret Life of Pets films, and Thomas Middleditch played Harold, which is the same person who played this character with Panzero from Panzero Part-Time Hero. And then we have Mr. Krupp, aka Captain Underpants. He's awesome. He played Ed Helms, which is the same person who played the One Sword from the Lorax. And then we have Melvin. He's pretty silly. He played Jordan Peele, which is the same person who played Bunny from Toy Story 4. And then we have Professor Poopy Pants. He is so awesomely funny. He played Nick Kroll, which is the same person who played Uncle Fester from the Addams Family 2019. And all the other characters are so awesome, including the music score by Fyodor Shapiro. That is awesome, including at the end credit song by Weird Al Yankovic. That's awesome. Cool. Do I have issues and negatives? Nope! Awesome film. My third favorite anime feature of 2017. It gets a 10 out of 10. Amazing, brilliant masterpiece. And it gets the seal of epic masterpiece. Ooh, hope you all enjoy and tell me who is your favorite moments from Captain Underpants film. One comment per person. And hope you all enjoy. And goodbye!